bunch of sheets
So,
here, would you?
I think that I've covered off all the rules. We've spoken to the candidates in advance, particularly about how they're in the spotlight. So I'm going to introduce each of the candidates separately before they come forward with their speaking notes. So in our random draw, Kyle Piper was selected to be the first speaker with his opening remarks. He's going to be guided by Cathy, who's sitting there. Now Cathy has some cards to assist with timing. So she's going to give you a warning that you've got 15 seconds left, 30 seconds, and you have to stop. And if they're not stopping, we'll ask you to applaud, so it's an even playing field. So candidates, you know there's someone that's helping you out with your timing in terms of your opening remarks, and she's the official timekeeper as well. And the audience can also see what's going on in terms of time. So I'm going to ask Kyle Piper to step forward. Kyle is a 31-year-old who moved to Grand Forks 5 years ago with his family to work as a courier. He has had an interest in municipal politics since age 6 and has 15 years experience in business management and ownership. Kyle.
Thank you everyone for coming. The reason why I'm running is many people know me as a hard-working, honest businessman, and I wish to use that experience in the council. I have a family, and I want to ensure that my children and my grandchildren, I hope to be around still, do not pay for the mistakes that may be made. And I want to do my best to ensure that those mistakes are not made. I will not make any promises, but I do have a vision. I wish to see trades training and work with Selkirk College to ensure that the trades that are needed in town, you don't need to farm it out to other cities. I wish to see more entry-level employment and work towards that, build jobs so that when people get out of school, they can make a living wage. And hopefully they create a family and are able to provide for them. I believe that we can do a lot better promoting the tourist industry in town. When I came here, I knew nothing about Grand Forks. Why? I knew about everywhere else. You see the advertisements, you go into anywhere, you see the other cities. I never knew of Grand Forks. I just seen a job here and I came here. I wish to see the public more engaged, more public consultation, more input. I have never been to one of the City Hall open houses because they are on a weekday during the day. There's only a small minority that is capable of going to those, and I wish to see more, preferably on weekends or later in the evening, so that the working people are able to have their input. I would also like to see more youth engaged. Work with the school so when they come out of school, people have a knowledge of how council is run. Because when they come out of school, they don't know how council is run and they are left to question the decisions that are made without proper knowledge of the legalities behind of the decisions that were made. And with your vote, I won't bring up the past. I wish to build a future to ensure a prosperous city for our future generations. Because I want to do my best to ensure that mistakes aren't made so that we aren't paying for our mistakes. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Our second candidate speaker is Brian Taylor. Brian's well known here in Grand Forks. He moved to the area in the early 90s. He's a 30-year career in public administration. He's been 3 terms as mayor, and he continues to be active in the community and as a volunteer. Brian.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming out. As mentioned, I've served some terms as mayor, but in fact, the role of mayor and the role of councillor are quite different. I see the mayor, and I think Mayor Conrad would confirm this, that there are many restrictions and limitations on the role of mayor and what the mayor can do in terms of various kinds of projects and ideas. I like the idea that a councillor's role is more specific and more attention to local and immediate issues. For instance, one of my pet areas was district, municipality, community forest, those kinds of things I see as more belonging to the mayor and the mayor's chair than to a councillor position. I think a councillor is able to lobby and campaign for a cause, to reflect the community around them. They're part of a group of 6, basically the field workers of the team that need to sit down and work by consensus when they can, and if they can't, they vote, and they have to get over the decisions they lose and work together as a team. Most of my working life, starting in my early 30s, I ended up working at tables with people. So I bring to this job very strong skills in being able to work at that table with 6 or 8 or 10 people, whatever it is. But my table skills are good. I have a number of issues that, as a councillor, I would like to work on that are fairly immediate. And I'd like to mention 2 of them. Habitat for Humanity. I think there's an opportunity here to use Habitat and the influence that they have, along with BC Housing, Canada Mortgage and Housing, the rest of the players, to address some of the interesting challenges ahead with housing. And I applaud Peter Matheson's efforts on the small homes, the kinds of things that Rowley Russell is doing in the regional area now to bring back the small house as part of rural lifestyles. These things need the help of the funders, not the tax dollars. And so I think it behooves us to really strengthen that relationship with Habitat, and I would like to work on that. The other one that I know I've brought up before is having a humane society. Such a simple thing, but in fact it's fallen apart in this community, and I think it would be great if, as a councillor, I could work on getting re-established a local nonprofit society that would basically take the contract for dogs only out of the hands of the regional district and make it work for the city, having adoption, having volunteers, having all the things we used to have with an active, humane society. It's a big thing for seniors. Dogs are a big part of a lot of people's lives, but so are cats, and right now they are totally left out of everything at a regional level. In conclusion, I'm asking for your support, and I'm looking forward to this new role as a councillor. I think I'll make a good councillor. Thank you very much.
Okay, our third candidate speaker is Zak Eburne-Stoodley. Zak is a lifelong Grand Forks resident, and Zak Eburne-Stoodley is running for City Council for the 4th time and is asking Grand Forks residents to support him in his dream of helping lead this city into the future. Zak.
Hi, I'm Zak Eburne-Stoodley. Like Michael said, this is my 4th time running for council. As many of you know, I'm an active volunteer with many of the community events that happen here. That's also part of my small business. I've owned an independent small business for the past 10 years, which has led me to work in many group situations, either as part of a board or in a band or working with another band. And you always have to take into account everybody's, character flaws and make that group work, whatever their flaws are or assets. And that's going to be very important for whoever gets elected in this seat, is to just be able to work together in group situations. I also would like to just remind you that tomorrow is advanced polls, and then that's 8 till 8 at City Hall, and then the actual general election day is on the 28th, 8 to 8 at City Hall. Okay. Have a good night.
Our fourth speaker is Mr. Ken Johnston. Ken's a longtime resident of Grand Forks. He has served on City Council before for 3 consecutive terms. He's a human resource rep, or has been at Enertech Grand Forks, BC. His training as a technical engineer, and he is currently, or has been, president of the Fall Fair for 2 years. So I'll ask Ken Johnston to come up now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ken Johnston, and I stand before you asking for your support in the upcoming municipal by-election. For close to 40 years, I've resided in this wonderful community, and for 3 years, I've had the privilege of representing Grand Forks as a city councillor. Further, when I first relocated from Penticton in the late 70s, I also had the honor of being your city administrator. Politics and people, however, are my passion. My community involvement runs deep. I currently sit on the Grand Forks Industrialization Commission, as well as have been involved in the past Grand Forks Fall Fair Society, the Grand Forks International Baseball Tourney in its beginnings, the Babe Ruth Baseball, which I have had 27 years of umpiring, Cal Ripken, Ladies Fast Pitch, among other things. Broad acres, boarded rooms, or even more work that I have done. Most recently, I've had the wonderful opportunity to be involved with BEST, the Boundary Emergency Transitional Housing Emergency Shelter. And what a heartwarming experience that has been. But that is what I've done, my friends, and this is what needs to be done. For the past year and a half, this council has been fractured. We have lost staff, we have lost volunteers, and members of council, and worse yet, fracture that occurs around the table, also fractures that occur within our community. Little gets accomplished, and a lot of time gets wasted, and a lot of good money goes after bad. What we need is unity, to unify this council, this community. This is what I've done all my life, from sitting on previous councils, to running companies, to umpiring baseball, to organizing tournaments. I know how to unify, and I'm very proud of it. For our community to prosper, we have to come together for the common good, for the common purpose, and this would be for the people. We need to check our egos at the door, open our eyes, and see what needs to be done and do it. For 40 years, I've seen the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of a wonderful community, and while we may be down, I know full well from the bottom of my heart that the ups are just around the corner. I know I can help unify this council, and together as one community council, and all of us, Grand Forks, will be great again. On May 28th, I ask for your support, Ken Johnston for City Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. Our fifth speaker is Cathy Korolek. Cathy moved to Grand Forks in 2003. She established a small business here, Heart and Soul Quilts, and she says, here we are today again. So Cathy, take it away.
Thank you, Michael. And thanks everyone for coming out. Some people don't put a great importance to by-elections, but I truly believe it is an important time. So, I am Cathy Korolek. I've been married to Rod for over 40 years. And you know what that takes. We have 2 children and 3 grandchildren. We moved from Fort St. James to Grand Forks in 2003. I still have the same feeling each and every time I go down Spencer Hill of coming home. It's important to me to maintain this ambiance and the welcoming feeling of our city. A friend said to me the other day, she said, "Speak from my heart," and I am. So the question is, what do I bring to the table? I have 23 years of banking experience, starting as a customer service rep, or when I began, a teller. Hard work, taking mutual fund courses, marketing workshops, mixing it with psychology and management classes. When I left the bank, I was a personal banker. So I decided to explore the artistic side of my brain, so opened my quilt shop, Heart and Soul. Been in business for 16 years. I've had the pleasure of meeting people from all walks of life and from all over the world. I'm a Rotarian of 24 years. Rotary has taken me places I never thought I would go. Working in a children's hospital in Nepal, friendship exchanges with other Rotarians from all over the world. I served at the Rotary District Assistant District Governor for 4 years. I was responsible for 7 clubs. Now I am an active member once again in the Grand Forks Club. The water park is a tremendous accomplishment and a legacy for our children. I currently sit as a director on the Boundary Regional Chamber of Commerce and as liaison between the Chamber and Downtown Merchants Association. And perhaps the most important part, I have no private agenda. I have the whole community at heart. Over the past year and a half, I've attended numerous council meetings, finding them interesting, observing the process, how decisions are made. It is important to be a part of the decision-making process, to leave a legacy for the future of our children to benefit our community. We have much to celebrate. We have a tremendous BMX club and track second to none. It's a great group. I've been in the park during some of their races. It's wonderful to see whole families camping, enjoying the facilities and cheering on the children. Our trails, mapping and development, what an achievement. An ATV club constructing staging areas, opening other places for responsible riding. And didn't the Bruins have an amazing season? Happy to have the coach with his family in the community. We have museums, we have galleries, we have things that emphasize and let us do what we're good at. We get to show what we are, and it's amazing. We even have our own flour mill. I can go on and on. What I'm trying to say is simply, Grand Forks, we got it going on. Granted, it would be nice to have a community hall where our dancers and musicians could perform. Possibilities abound. Let's support our local businesses and industry, as they are the lifeblood of our community. Grand Forks is the hub of outdoor activities and pursuits. The farmers market and the community market draws locals and tourists alike. I would like to see a marketing program promoting our community. We have a hospital, a pickleball, and we do have it going on. My life has not been all roses either, just like everyone. Families experience challenges, ups and downs. We get through. Working together as a team, we can rise to the challenge. I would like to bring a positive influence to the city. Let's build on what we have, the past is done. Let's invite new ideas to grow and to prosper. So tomorrow and on May 28th, please, I ask for your vote. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Cathy. Our sixth speaker has been a very active campaigner, Bev Tripp. Bev was born in BC and has lived here most of her life. With over 30 years of work experience, starting out as a bookkeeper, sports technical director with the BC Games, communications and public relations specialist, Bev is a veteran of the business environment. But her passion for advocating for those less fortunate eventually took her to many nations and back again to BC, where she enrolled as a mature student and trained to become a chaplain, working with the incarcerated and the elderly. For the next 14 years, she learned a great deal about people and the human condition, and having demonstrated her compassion and trustworthiness in the midst of people's most difficult life and crisis. Bev is an effective counselor, motivator, and communicator who understands the value of listening and collaboration to achieve objectives. She's keenly interested in her community and the people living in it, and believes that she would be a valuable member of City Council. Some of her past secondary accomplishments include a Master of Divinity degree from Regent College, and more recently 1 year of doctoral studies in semiotics and future studies at George Fox University. Bev.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming out to this All Candidates Forum. It's very nice to see so many friendly faces here, and those of you who I don't know, welcoming to become your friend sometime soon. Allow me to tell you why I let my name stand for this position of councillor in this by-election. I just love Grand Forks. I've known the people here and have visited here for about a decade. And when my husband and I were planning on retiring, we chose this place. We were not able to actually move up here, even though we had brought property in 2012. We arrived on the scene in 2013. And very soon, almost immediately after we arrived, we began to get involved in community events and issues. Well, not only did that turn out to be a wonderful way to meet so many great people in this community, it also began an education on my part about the city's governance and what goes on in the council chambers, having had absolutely no former experience in this area. The more I learned and discovered, the more concerned, unfortunately, I became. And what I saw was that people in the council chambers were not being listened to, and excellent and creative ideas presented by people who were very concerned and took the time to go down to those council meetings seemed to me to be being just ignored. And this really troubled me because I really firmly believe in the ideal of valuing and having respect for others. I've seen firsthand that organizations which excel partner with their stakeholders. And partnering means engagement. It means listening. It means respecting. And it means working together, as we've heard from others here, to find positive solutions to the challenges that the city faces. It does not mean forcing things on people, whether they like it or not. To me, that seems kind of arrogant, actually, and definitely unproductive and divisive. Rather, I believe that collaborative approaches to issues and challenges are a far better route to take. In my decades of serving on boards and committees and working with hundreds and hundreds of volunteers over my career, and also my work with counseling people through some of life's most challenging issues, I have found that what succeeds is a give and take process. There's a commitment to a goal that is greater than simply getting my own way. And this is why, people, I chose the dove symbol for my signs. You know, the dove is a symbol from antiquity, and it speaks of unity, it speaks of peace, and it also speaks of new beginnings. That promise, I think, still profoundly resonates with all of us today. We're looking for those things, and many of us really are just tired of what we've seen going on down at the City Hall and the actions that have even caused deep divisions among people in this community. That's very sad, and we just don't want to have that. We must stop the infighting and get on with mature, wise, and educated deliberations that work for the people of this community and work for the better of this community. Finally, just to sum up, running for City Council should be considered a deep privilege by those of us who have put our names forward, and I'm sure that we do feel that way for this one lone council position, and I certainly know that it is for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. Now, we would have had a seventh speaker. We also have Mr. Patrick O'Doherty running for office. Patrick sends his regrets His sister passed away late last week, and he's now in White Rock attending to those family matters, and so is not able to join us here this evening. But he has assured everyone that he's keen on running, and his name will be on the ballot. Now, to start off the questioning of the candidates, we're going to allow our media representative from the Gazette, Erin Perkins, to start off with the questioning. She's going to lead with 4 different questions, not all at once, and we've asked her to direct her question to just one of the candidates. And as I said earlier, each candidate has 3 rebuttal cards, and they have to be strategic in terms of deciding which questions they may want to weigh in if they haven't been asked the question. So Erin, can I ask you to take the mic and start it off?
Is this one on? Hello. I have them written down on computer. It's very, very techy of me. My first question is to Brian Taylor. Brian, you've mentioned a community center as a priority for you in your campaign. How do you propose on doing this?
That's been on the agenda in this town for as long as I've been here, for 20 years or more. And at this point in time, I think there are a number of things being looked at that might result in a successful project to create a community hall. One of them was a school. I remember back in discussions a number of years ago that maybe it would be vacated and they'd be building another school. The other one that's been on the books for a long time has been the USCC, and I'm not at liberty to discuss that in any detail, but that clearly has been something that the community has looked at for some time.
Thank you.
Now, just before Erin, is there any of the candidates want to weigh in on this one? Okay. Question number 2, Erin.
Question number 2. To Bev Tripp. Bev, how do you plan on making the current council environment a more harmonious and less toxic environment, as you stated in your bio for the Gazette earlier this week?
So how do I make city council a less toxic environment and more harmonious?
Yes, as quoted.
Right, yes, I think that I've addressed some of that in my opening statements. I think listening and accepting other people's opinions and digesting them and working toward a collaborative approach, working toward an end goal that absolves a person of their own, hanging on to that and saying, no, it has to be my way. We have to give and take, and we have to listen to other people and accept their ideas.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any candidates wanting to use a rebuttal here? Okay, we have a pass. Question number 3, Erin.
Question number 3 is to Cathy Korolek. If you were elected to city council, how would you encourage young families to stay or move here?
Well, I think that's a really challenging question for Grand Forks, because we need to have industry to bring families, because we need to make sure they have an income that they can live on and exist well. We have things that are out there for the children and the families to participate in a group. So I think what we have is to need to build on those and move forward in that area. And I have a feeling that our future is going to lie in kind of entrepreneurial businesses and things like that are coming, that people can do things on their own, and then as they grow, can invite more people in. But it's most important to be able to have something that kids need to be active and involved, because they're our future. So when they have something that gets them out in a happy situation, I think we have a good chance.
Thank you, Cathy. Any candidate wanting to use a rebuttal here? All right, your last question, Erin.
This one's to Kyle. Kyle, you speak of parking concerns in our downtown core. How would you improve this situation?
We have to regulate somehow there's all-day parkers that are taking up spots that are valuable, there's all-day parkers that are business owners that are taking up spots that are valuable clientele to other businesses. And there's many empty storefronts, and that's part of what people look at for business viability is parking. We need to find some way to regulate, whether it's on a complaint basis or have a bylaw officer. I would prefer to have it on a complaint basis and keep it to downtown merchants as much as possible, because they need to not take up those spots and harm other businesses.
Thank you. Okay. Yep.
Well, this is a bit of an issue for us, because one of the things that we just love about Grand Forks is that we can go downtown if we're not walking, because we do walk a lot, and just park anywhere. We've never had an issue finding a parking spot, and we love it that it's free. You know, if you go to Nelson or other places, you're going to pay an arm and a leg for parking, and it's almost impossible to find. You know, there's a new Downtown Businessmen's Association, which is great, fantastic that they've got this new group. Can't they maybe just talk together and coordinate with each other and make a decision for the business owners to park someplace that would, you know, maybe be a little bit less intrusive? I think that they could probably work it out.
Kyle wants to speak for a second time on this issue.
There has been businesses that have already spoken to the businesses that are committing this offense. And I'm not saying that parking needs to be charged for, but it needs to be regulated, whether it's by, you could say 4 hours. That gives plenty of time for the customers to shop, but it keeps the business owners and the employees to not park all day on Market Avenue. I'm on Market Avenue for 3 hours a day, and I have trouble finding a parking spot. Albeit it's a big truck I drive, but I usually find myself double parking. And they've already tried to police themselves and got no results.
Thank you. Now, we're going to be opening it up to the folks on the floor. When you do come and approach a mic, we do need you to identify yourself and identify which candidate you're addressing your question to. We've also had some requests, or made a request to people to submit questions in writing. So I'll start off with one question from the public that was received. This question was received from Cher Wires, and it's addressed towards Bev Tripp. And the question is, in your campaign materials and signs, you use the word trust. If you're elected to office, can we trust you not to bring forward the issues of the water meter program or electromagnetic frequencies, EMFs, etc.? So, Bev, would you care to answer?
If a person is asking for someone to be trusted not to do something that is their agenda, then I don't think that that has anything to do with trust. Trust to me is a commitment to do what you say you will do. Trust is not committing to say that you will not do what someone else does not want you to do. I am very strong in my belief that I will stand for my values, my convictions, and what is absolutely best for this community.
Okay, I see no other takers on this one. So do we have anyone from the audience that would like to ask a question of our candidates? Again, there's 2 mics, one in each aisle. I need you to step forward, identify yourself, and identify which candidate you're directing your question to. Okay. Chris Thompson.
Oh, thank you. This is directed to Bev Tripp. Since before 2009, the city has been working in developing an asset management plan. In fact, then Chief Financial Officer Cecile Arnott along with the Chief Financial Officer from Lake Country, presented at the 2011 UBCM. What is your position on asset management and the benefits to our city by having our Chief Administrative Officer, Doug Allen, a member of the Asset Management Association of BC Board of Directors?
Okay, so the first part of that question was, what is my opinion about asset management?
What is your position?
What's my position on asset management? I believe that we need to have a handle on what we have in our community. That's important. But the issue that is of concern for me is the taxation burden that is going to put on the people of this community over the next number of years as that reserve fund is built up to, I guess, well, you've got to have the reserve fund there that places on the asset that you've given a price to. So that's a big concern for me. Our taxes are going up 15% this year, and then for the next 5, another 15 on top of that. I think these things have to be done with a view to the fact that people in the community have a limited amount of resources to draw from.
And the second part of my question?
Okay, I get to go again then, do I, with my time?
Yes.
1 more minute.
Okay, so would you please kindly repeat the second part of that question?
The benefits to our city by having our CAO, Doug Allen, a member of the Asset Management Association of BC Board of Directors.
Well, it could be perceived as a conflict of interest, I suppose. I guess you'd need to find out just what was coming from them that was affecting our city that he had a direct connection to.
You've got no specifics on that, just a perceived, is what you're saying? Am I hearing you correctly?
I think it's a perceived conflict of interest, yes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody want to weigh in on this one? Okay.
I'd like to say that when I was first elected in 1997, I was surprised that, having come from large organizations, that the city of Grand Forks had very few set up asset management at all. There were no depreciations. They were not putting money away. When they needed something, they were buying it using the slag fund money. So I'm saying that we have never had such a well-run city. Our administrator is extremely talented and has taken a leadership role in the province. Our city is in good shape, in good business hands. So I'd just like to confirm that his involvement with the BC Association really speaks to his leadership role at a provincial level.
Mike, on my right. Sir?
My name is Gene Cook, and my question is for Bev Tripp. And I guess I just want to say thank you for offering your service to the citizens and taxpayers of Grand Forks. And the question is, why a retired chaplain would be interested in municipal politics?
I think that's a good question. He asked why a retired chaplain would be interested in municipal politics. And I guess my answer to that is because what goes on here affects me. It affects me and my husband, and I know it affects all of you. I want this town that we have retired in not just to survive, but to thrive. And I hear that as a common thread through all of the candidates here. And you know, when I see the crumbling streets, when I know that there's, massive water leaks in the infrastructure, and especially when I hear about people leaving town, I get really concerned. And I've always had the desire to make things better, and so I have the time, and that's what I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to just jump in and try and help as I can.
Thank you.
Okay, next Mike.
Peter Matheson. Seems the most controversial was Bev Tripp. My question is to Bev Tripp. Thank you for having the courage to run for council and your willingness to answer questions like this in public. I care deeply about protecting the environment that I will be leaving to my grandchildren, and I need to trust that my candidate will vote the values they pledge. I noticed that last week on your election Facebook page, you referenced a recent decision where council voted to, I quote you, create a protected natural area zone, Johnston Flat Wetlands, at a cost of $10,000 split with the RDKB, unquote. You began the post with, again I quote, "If you cringe at the thought of your tax money sprouting wings and flying out the window," I interpreted this language as critical of frivolous spending by council. So my question is about trust and transparency. While in one post you clearly list the environment as one of your top 3 campaign priorities, and within that you pledge to, quote, encourage preservation of natural habitats, how can you then, in another post on the very same page, insinuate criticism and opposition to council's own motion to create a protected natural area zone? From what I've read on your election page, compared to the council agenda, it appears that you have posted contradictory, false, and misleading statements to the voters. So I'm hoping you can...
Peter, we're taking a long time.
So I'm hoping you can explain which of your statements I can trust to be accurate, and had you been on council, if you would have voted with the council majority on the issue of creating rezoning to protect Johnston Flats wetland.
I'm very glad that you've asked that question, because if you have seen something there that you felt was not, together, then I'm glad I have an opportunity to answer. That land could have been protected and would be protected very adequately by zoning alone. This particular initiative will create an additional amount of money for people who will have to go on a walkway to walk into that protected natural area. They will not be allowed to actually engage with that area in any other way other than being on a walkway. I don't believe that that is necessary. I believe that the zoning could have very adequately dealt with keeping that area protected, and I hope there are other areas that, if they're not zoned yet, that they do become zoned. What I take issue at is spending extra money on, thank you.
Thank you. I have Cathy that would like to jump in on this one.
I think it's really important to protect our environment and welcome people to go and be a part of it. But in protecting that, you have to have walkways and things that do not put a footprint actually on the environment. So for a legacy for the future, we do need to have a developed protective area. They are everywhere, and I think it invites you to go because there is a safe place to walk where you're not endangering or doing any bad things to the environment. You get to walk and you get to view, but you're not leaving your footprint on anything. Yes, thank you. So I truly believe it's a good thing.
My name is Murray Rennie, and I have 2 questions. One is very simple. How many of you people live within the city of Grand
No,
Forks?
sorry, you gotta direct it to one person only. Can't, you're asking everyone to respond, and we're limiting questions to one candidate only.
Okay, assume that you're all living in the city then. However,
We could do that. Who lives in the city of Grand Forks? What do you say? Okay.
Okay, my next question is to Brian Taylor, and that is, the other day on the CBC, he was commenting on law enforcement, particularly the traffic, and I just wonder what his views are with regards to traffic enforcement within the city of Grand Forks.
Yes, I did comment on some of the behavior of the RCMP locally, and I have had a meeting with the RCMP and brought to their attention as a community citizen my concerns, which I have every reason to believe that they're listening to. So I'm glad that they made the opportunity for me to meet with them and follow through on this.
But that still doesn't tell me what your opinions of it are.
After many years of meeting with the RCMP on a regular basis, the mayor does meet with the RCMP. Jim Harrison and I met every month or so, and the topic was, how are we doing out there? And I would report on how the community was feeling about the policing that was going on. Right now, I've never seen it as controversial as it is now. There is a real morale problem, and that's what I was bringing to the attention of the RCMP. So my answer is no, I think there is a problem out there. Thank you.
Is that in regards to traffic law enforcement?
Sorry, but I'm not going to go into that.
I say, is it in regards to traffic law enforcement? You still haven't answered my question as to what your opinion of traffic law enforcement is.
Traffic law enforcement on the dump road that happened to me personally about 2 weeks ago was the RCMP stopping a car right at the corner by Omega, parking in the middle of the road and not moving, so it endangered myself and several other people who were trying to get to the dump. That was not acceptable. That's not good traffic control. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next Mike.
Monique Van Newick. The other day I was in the store and I had somebody comment that you're getting along with Brian Taylor. Yeah, I was just about as shocked as they were. But Brian, my question to you is, 2014 elections, you came in with the attitude, we hear you, but you're wrong. Lately, you've been focusing on the deer calling, Humane Society to protect dogs and cats, law enforcement, and also other subjects such as Habitat for Humanity. What exactly in the past year and a bit has all of a sudden changed your view in the public, of the way you see the public?
I'm continuing to listen to the public. I think that the earlier statement that council should always listen to everybody's ideas is what I was talking about in 2014. Lots of ideas come forward. They're not practical. They may be very creative, but they don't work. And people who express those ideas often think that we're not listening to them. That's the point I was making, that because we're not doing what you think we should be doing, and possibly you're reaching over your head to reports from engineers that you know little or nothing about, we're not going to do what you're saying. We're going to listen to you, but we're not necessarily going to do it.
Next Mike.
Stephen Mascal. I've been here for over 50 years. By the gyro way of thinking, I'm an old timer. Now, Ken Johnston, you've been around for a while. I have a question for you, and I have another one afterwards. Is the city, if you go through there and walk around, you can see a bunch of empty stores. What would you do to get it going so these stores are filled with some kind of business? Now, you've been on there before. You tried to do something. I didn't see anything done.
Okay, Steve, I've been around here a long time and I agree with you. I was even one of those people trying a business to succeed in this town. One of the most impractical problems we have here is I believe that there should be incentives for the business people downtown to get some relief, even if it has to be through taxation, to help sustain new ventures in town. I've had a lot of friends of mine that have tried businesses here, And the problem we have, and I had, was quite often the rents downtown are super, super expensive. The utilities to keep any small business growing, especially restaurants, is an enormous impact on the community and on the owner. And I know, for example, my number one priority is basically advertising on town, and somehow councils should get involved in somehow subsidizing newcomers into the community and have an open letter. Thank you very much.
Okay, Bev wants to come in on this. Bev?
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. And I think what I would also add is that not only some incentives given for new businesses all too, but to approach those businesses when they come into town with very professional people at City Hall who are going to help these people through the process that they need to get set up. I heard one story of a gentleman who tried to set up a business here, and he said that he was told 10 different times that he had to change what he was doing in his property to get that thing up to snuff so that he could start up his business. That to me just seems unacceptable. Trained professionals who know how to deal with business people, who know how to direct them and get them on track and up and running. That's what we need in this community.
Okay. Anybody else who wants to jump in on this? Cathy?
So 13 years ago, I was relocating from a little town in Fort St. James, had a business there. I phoned the City Hall and said, this is what I want to do. I said, okay, come on in, we'll have a look at it. So I applied for a business license. I got it immediately. I've been in business for 13 years. I think the City Hall staff do an amazing job. Thank you.
That's the next question, because Bev was talking about resources and what we have in this city. And one of the resources we do have that has money is the slide. Now, the slide had a fund at one time and had several $1 million in it. Would you reestablish this fund so we can have a resource, or what would you do? You know nothing about it.
He's asking you, Bev.
Oh, he's asking.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. I do not know much about the slide fund and how much extra reserve money is there. I do not know how much the city is pulling out of that fund and what they're using it for. What I do know is that right now, sitting on the books is a $1 million loan. The city was given by I guess they were given the ability to take up to $5.5 million if they needed it, and there is a $1 million loan sitting there that $5,500 a month is being paid out in interest. So where the slag fund money goes, I've heard that there isn't that much left. That's something that when I get on council, I will definitely find out about.
Okay, well, would you put it into a fund that we can utilize the interest on?
Okay, sorry, Steve. I was lenient with 2 questions. Now you got follow-up questions. This is not a debate. So, anybody else on the forum here want to bring up slag fund or their thoughts on it? No. Okay, sir, you're up.
My name is Thomas Groom. I'm a small business owner and a healthcare professional in this town. I have seen many attempts opening doors in downtown for a small business. I happen to be very, very lucky. I was born and raised in a small town. I understand what it takes to make it work here, but it breaks my heart to see what I perceive as a lack of involvement by council and by our staff at City Hall. So my question is to Kyle Piper. You are a small businessman. If you get this seat on council, how will you work towards bringing in more small business, and I'm not talking about just downtown, more small business like home-based business, Cathy, something like yours. But how would you work together to do this, to bring them here?
Well, I believe downtown of a city should be a one-stop shop, and we need to welcome businesses and be welcoming to the businesses. However, my ideas probably won't be the best. I would have to take public input. Subsidization or initiatives would be a great idea, but I'd hate to steal Ken's idea, but there's so much that could be done, and I don't have a full answer for that. I answered it partly with the parking, because I know of a business that was going to open downtown, but it required parking that business owners were taking up. And that's why one of the storefronts is empty. So that's why I took it as an important issue.
Thank you.
Sorry I couldn't give you a full answer.
Well, you will be able to in the future.
Okay, the next gentleman there as well, you've been waiting for a while.
Mike Kilbride. To Mr. Johnson, you're correct. You have been around a while. This isn't your first rodeo. And you've seen a lot. You've had a lot of pearls of wisdom to draw on. And your phenomenal charitable work of late is a great badge of honor for you. How do you see it all coming together in the future as a previous administrator and a councillor towards bringing all these pieces back to the pie that everyone has been, alluding to a certain degree, some of the problems and some of the opportunities? Where do you see the real problems and the real opportunities above all, especially with your charity work, and how can you bring that into the future?
Thank you. And from past administration as well as being involved in the community, I think town hall meetings like this one here are a roundtable discussion of what people want for the community, how they want to get involved in the problem we have here is, if you look at City Hall, even when it was renovated way back when, there's not a large crowd allowed in there, and people are not allowed to get involved in council ventures. Way back when I was on council, the public part was totally full, but we allowed everybody to put something in writing, bring it up, and then we would discuss it and bring it back to the public at the next meeting. I think council has the ability to get more, like they say, more open, more involved, and we'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you. Any other candidate want to jump in on this? No, Bev, this will be your, no. Any other candidate? No. Okay, sir.
My name is Jock Mackay. I'm a resident of Grand Forks since 1980. And I'm going to beat my gums about something I beat my gums about every meeting. We have a ton of parking I'm going to direct this to Carl. We have a ton of parking in this city. Right in the, they call it the Sikamudu Park or something. It's 1 block from downtown. Riverside Drive, it's got all kinds of parking spots on it. So why don't we close off Market Avenue from 3rd Avenue to 2nd Avenue in the summer months, skid in some trees, have outdoor cafes and something like that. It's a beautiful spot for that. And never mind, the stall owners are quite happy. They could park anywhere else. It's 1 block, and there's seats all the way along the Market Avenue that people could sit on. That's my point.
I'm trying to get in for my first term, and unfortunately, it's a short term, so I can't promise big change. But a Sky Mall was always something that I thought of Market Avenue. There's lots of parking downtown, Sugimoto Park, by the bargain shop, the credit union, Riverside Drive, but on Market Avenue, those merchants are taking it up, and unfortunately, customers don't want to walk, so that's the issue now. But if there was a Sky Mall, or an air mall, open air mall, people would be willing to walk because that would be a nice day shopping. So I completely agree with your idea.
Thank you.
Okay, next night.
Hello, my name is Marianne Westaway, and I was born and raised in this community. My grandfather and my father served council for a number of years, and I'm not of an old-fashioned thinking, just to clarify things. But first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for running. I know it's a commitment and a challenge. And Zach, Cathy, Brian, and Ken, I know about all of your community involvement over the years, and to me that really matters. It matters to me what you have contributed to Grand Forks in the past, what kind of collaboration you know how to do at a table, because I know that the decisions that need to be made at council require a lot of research and thought and collaboration.
Cathy, we're looking for
okay, here's my question. It's either going to be to Kyle or Bev, but, sorry Kyle, I'm going to ask Bev. Bev, I want to know what committees and what board work you have contributed to Grand Forks since you've been here, please.
Okay, that's a good question. The very first winter that we were here, I volunteered for the community Christmas dinner, and that was such a wonderful event. That is just an awesome event for this community where well over 100 people get fed. And so we were down there, you know, peeling the potatoes and all those kinds of things. And then also we worked very hard on the actual day of it as well. I've also volunteered at Beth's. I was down there for one winter, and unfortunately last winter we were out of town, and then this last winter I broke my thumb. So I wasn't able to volunteer there, but I love the work that goes on at Beth's. And I'm also volunteering as a board person at Grand Forks Christian Center, so do a lot of volunteer work through the church.
Would you like to jump in, Kyle? Nope. Okay. Next.
Thank you. My name is Hamilton, James Hamilton, and I was interested to see Cathy's comment. It's nice to know that somebody's been here for so long, it's a successful business, and 13 years ago it was easy to get in to have a business. Things may have changed, so that's the point about that. And this is a point that was brought up. I would like to make a final point with Mrs. Tripp, and I want to ask your opinion to see if you're going to be suited for this position. What are if you've already studied this, what are the three most important issues that City Council has been dealing with recently? Have you been keeping tabs on what Council is doing? Thank you.
Okay, so three most important issues. Well, it seems to me that most of the issues that I've been speaking about with people come down to money and finances. First of all, there's the rising taxes, the 15% increase this year. And then just at the last council meeting that I was at, and I've been to many council meetings over the time that my husband and I have lived here. There's rising utilities, they're going up about 14%. And then of course there's the fire truck. We just got a $51 levy. And I just wonder how that fire truck, I mean that $51 levy seemed to be sprung on us. And didn't the former councils know that they were going to be needing a new fire truck, and why weren't they putting money away for that?
Good evening. My name is Rod, and I'd like to offer you the opportunity to maybe use up some of your cards. So I think Bev is out of them, so I'll direct my question to you. So council operates in three different ways, either through bylaw, through policy, or through resolution. What would be your first bylaw, policy, or resolution that you would put forward to council if you were to get the seat?
I hadn't really given that any thought. I think that what I would like to do is just get up to speed with all of the bylaws, policies, and resolutions that are already out there. One thing I do notice is that there are a lot of changes to bylaws. Whether that is a common practice on most councils, I'm not sure. But just to get up to speed on all of the different bylaws and resolutions that are changing and policies that are changing, I think would be a good thing for me to do before I put something forward right off the bat.
Okay, as a supplementary, if I may, show of hands, hopefully everyone did their homework. We do have a web page. How many people have read all the policies for the city on the web page? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elena Plotnikoff. I was born and raised here, and as one of the younger people here, I would like to ask a question to Zach, who is one of the younger candidates. I would like to know what you plan to do for youth in Grand Forks to get them more involved in the political process, and also to just build a greater pride of being from Grand Forks for young people.
It's very difficult for council to do certain things. For instance, we can't mandate families to move here, of course, right? But we can make it more comfortable. So we can try to approach businesses that would suit our area, that would bring an economy, such as Silver Kettle. That brings in the parents of the young families. And once we get the families, then youth culture does sort of develop. Like, we do have the skate park, we do have many events like the fall fair and stuff. Having been youth and trying to volunteer with those groups, I know it is often hard to get to be part of their group, and which is a shame because that discourages lots of youth from becoming part of the community, which is why I'm here, because I did participate in so many events, and I said, hey, I don't want to move 3 hours down the road, I like it right here, you know? So we definitely need to figure out ways to also encourage the local groups such as, that host these events to be more accommodating to the youth and be more active in getting them to participate in things. Another thing is there have been...
You're out of time, Zach.
Okay.
Okay, next one.
My name is Donald Ferrand. I've attended numerous meetings at City Hall in 2015. I'm also the person who garnered 1,000 names on a petition to have the decision to fire and rehire Mr. Allen. And I'm having a conversation right now with the Attorney General of BC and the Premier of BC to see if we're going to have a judicial review of that decision. Presently, we're dealing with a council here in Grand Forks that's basically sandbagged behind behind City Hall doors. And I'd like to know from Mr. Taylor what he would do to take the sandbags off City Hall so that we'd have a democratic process in this town for these citizens, the members of this community who want transparency, honesty, and a fair shake when you go to City Hall. And I've been to City Hall numerous times, and basically I've been insulted by the mayor, I've been insulted by the councillors, and all I'm looking for is information on money, how the money is being spent in this town.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Mr. Friend, I don't see City Hall as sandbagging anything. I see them as putting out as much clear information as they're able to put out. You know that on the record, the termination of Mr. Allen by the previous council had to do with the term constructive dismissal, because clearly there was a campaign to terminate the CAO and other costly management staff, which really set up a situation where it was in the best interest of the city that we negotiated a deal with Mr. Allen before he was forced to file for constructive dismissal, which was just moments away. So there was nothing secret about that. If there needs to be a national inquiry into it, go ahead, but there was no deception. Clearly, this continual vilification of the city is not necessarily and not constructive.
Hi, my name is James Elliott, and my question is for Zach.
because you haven't taken the opportunity to weigh in on any of these issues, and before Elena, no one asked you a question. So, I'm giving you an opportunity to build your argument. Why do you think you are the best person for this council seat? Thank you.
Being the best is very subjective to what you think it is. So I'm just going to go through some of the traits that I think would be an attribute in most people's eyes. I've owned my own small business for 10 years. I've volunteered with just about every community group in some capacity. I currently work downtown, so I have a really sense of what's happening downtown. I own a commercial building within the city limits, which also helps me understand financially the business owner's needs when it comes to taxes and things that council actually does have control over. It also puts me in a position to know what the citizens, again, same position, taxes and all that, are feeling, water meters and all that. I'm getting all that exact same things that the average citizen is getting. So I would say those are the main key points. I'm also a lifelong resident, of course.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Mr. Taylor to explain what he meant. I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand what was said there, or what was being said. My understanding is that Mr. Allen was actually let go or fired or dismissed, whatever it is, by the previous council as one of the last acts before they got out of there. And this, according to Mr. Taylor, was because of the threat of constructive dismissal. Could you explain that? What on earth is constructive dismissal, and why didn't you leave it until the next council to look into that instead of quickly? I understand that Mr. Allen was actually never truly left the service. He was working on a computer, advising the city all the time until his rehiral. But what does this mean? Threat of this. What was this? Where was this threat coming from?
Constructive dismissal is when someone interferes with your ability to do your job. It's one of the most black and white things in labor law, and would have brought on full damages and full compensation for Mr. Allen. He had 2 very positive evaluations on file, and the interference by the newly elected council would have immediately enacted constructive dismissal charges, which we would have lost as a city, and it would have cost us more money. That's about as clear as I can make it.
Okay. Not having anyone at the mic, I'm going to... Oh, we have a question.
Julia Butler, Councillor for the City of Grand Forks. To Mr. Taylor, this is the first that I've heard of this constructive dismissal, and I'm just curious why it wasn't included in the minutes to the incoming council so that we are aware of this.
I don't know. I assumed it was.
Okay, no more questions. I'm going to ask Erin Perkins then to take over the mic, and she's got follow-up questions. 3 or 4, I hope.
I do. Okay, poor Bev. She's on the hot seat again. Bev, where did you get the $10,000 amount for the new Johnson Flats Wetlands Rezoning Project? I just wrote a story and there was no money amounts at all.
I believe that was brought up at the council meeting, and I think it was a shared about $5,000 for the council and $5,000 from the RDKB.
Oh, you're talking about 2 different things. That's what it is. Okay.
Oh, okay.
One is the wetlands that's actually city-owned property. That isn't the 10,000. That's for another project that they're undertaking with RDKB. Sorry, I just wanted clarification on that. My second question is to Bev again. How will you create and maintain connections in the community to ensure you are reflecting the wishes of our community and not your own personal biases?
That's a really good question. I think Ken had mentioned it earlier. Town hall meetings, I think, would be very effective and very productive. There are a lot of people in this community that know a lot of very valuable, and have a lot of very valuable information and wisdom. So if we can glean from people who are interested in investing in the community through their ideas, then through town hall meetings, I think a lot of that can be garnered.
The third question is for Ken. Ken, how will you unify the current council if elected? We talked a lot about that. I was curious about your ideas.
You haven't been around here as long as I have.
No, I haven't.
But back when I was first elected on council, we had a very, very split council. And through negotiations and back and forth dealings, you never get exactly what you want. However, during that period of time, while the 3 terms I was on council, probably the most constructive period of any council that's ever been around here for a while. If you look at my leaflet, you'll see all the accomplishments that in the 3 terms I was on council have been done. Some have just been finished now. Some of the recommendations were made back way then. We used to do a 5-year plan. I don't know if council does it anymore. And I know that by law they're supposed to do some sort of plan, but unifying council, yes, it's give and take. And I'm cut off, thank you.
You have a few seconds. And my 4th question is for Cathy. Cathy, what do you see City Council doing well? What do you see as our present City Councils? What are they doing well?
I feel that present council has done a lot of things well. Just the fact that they turn up for every meeting, they're there and they work. It's a democratic process. So it doesn't matter if one has an opinion and an idea, if it works, they vote, it gets it. If it's not, then it's defeated. And yeah, they're doing well. They're thinking of legacies for the future. They're building on things. They're trying to move past the old issues and start fresh with some new plans. And they've got a tremendous asset management plan in place. They have the legacy for the park, the wetlands. There's a lot of things they're working at. And I feel that they have an attitude of, let's get it together. Let's go forward. We've had enough controversy and we want to work together as a team. And I really feel that's the attitude that's coming across to me now. And I wish everyone well, because I think that's what has to be done. Work as a team, no matter if it's my idea and it's not a popular one or well received, then okay, then I have to go with the majority. And I think that's important to make sure we work together as a team, no matter what we are going for. And that, I think, is the ultimate goal of every council, and I think they're doing that now.
Any other candidate want to jump in on that one? And Erin, are you done with questions?
Yes.
You are. Okay. Last call then for questions from the audience. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to ask a question? We've got a few minutes that we could. Okay, if we don't have any questions from the audience, then we are going to go into closing remarks from our candidates. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to do reverse order from the opening remarks. So the speaking order, in case those of you have forgotten, will be Bev, Cathy, Ken, Zak, Brian, and Kai. So I'm going to be asking Bev to come forward. She has 3 minutes with her closing remarks, and Cathy will be our timekeeper.
Well, you've heard a lot tonight, and hopefully you've been able to come to some conclusions about what each of us on this stage stands for. I believe that my background, education, and experience uniquely qualify me to serve you, the people of Grand Forks, on City Council. Over the decades of my working career, I've been exposed to many different work environments, and I've learned a lot about the world of business from those experiences. I have a fair amount of education and experience under my belt, including very practical first year of certified general accounting. Early on, I worked as an office manager and bookkeeper, and then I started working for not-for-profit organizations. I've been privileged to work for the BC Games as a technical director, the BC Cancer Society, the BC Medical Association, and the BC Real Estate Association. And that means that over the decades in a not-for-profit setting, I've sat on many, many boards and committees, both as a volunteer and as a paid employee. But the last phase of my career, I believe, is of particular importance to our situation now. Throughout the last 14 years of my career as a chaplain, I was able to hone additional valuable skills in the areas of mediation and conflict resolution. And even more importantly, I learned the value of listening and respecting other people and giving them dignity. I believe my unique background has amply demonstrated my ability to work collaboratively and to get along with others of many diverse groups in many very emotionally charged and difficult situations. My empathy, integrity, moral standing, and leadership skills have all been proven through a lifetime of working for the betterment of others, whether that be in the corporate world, in institutional settings, or in the personal settings with friends, family, and others. Furthermore, issues of justice are of great concern to me, and I'm passionate about advocating for those who, for whatever reason, are not able to speak up for themselves. In other words, I care. And I would be very honored to serve you, the people of Grand Forks, on City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Bev. And Cathy, you have the mic.
Well, we finished that gauntlet. On to something fresh. So, I want to thank you for sitting through and listening to us all. And as we struggle and think of answers to all your questions, we appreciate your patience. So I just want to say that I am just like all of you. I'm concerned about our city. I'm proud of where we live. And I'm conscious of conservation for now and for the future for our kids and their children. And I'm looking forward to the future of prosperity and growth. So I'm going to make 4 promises: to listen to all your concerns, to learn, to respect your opinions, to do the best I can. So thank you for your time, and please give me your vote this weekend, or next weekend. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Cathy. Ken, you've got the mic now.
Once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This election is about the future of Grand Forks, the unification of Grand Forks you want to see. Not often does an opportunity present itself within a community that gives the citizens of the municipality a chance to change course halfway through a term and to change the narrative. There are many candidates on the stage who you are familiar with, and there are other ones you are not. When you head to the polls, you need to ask yourself what each candidate brings to the table and how they would work to unify Grand Forks. There are certainly some on the stage that we know will not change the narrative. I know there is one person that will. That would be my friend, Ken Johnston. I will unify Grand Forks. I will work to unify the city and this council. On May 28th, I ask again for your support and that you will vote for me, Ken Johnston. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, Zach, you've got the mic.
Just like to say, if you have any more questions for me, feel free to contact me anytime. My phone number is in the book. You could usually find me at neighbors' computers. My contact information is on my flyers in the back, so feel free to contact me anytime. I'd also like to take this time to thank Morgan in the back there for running sound, the Chamber for putting this event on, Mike for moderating, Les for broadcasting us on the internet, And please remember to get out and vote. Your vote really does count. Last time I think I was 18 or 19 votes short. Cathy, you were what, 8 or 9 votes short? So like your vote really does count. So please encourage your friends, family to get out and vote. Get discussing your candidates you favor with all your friends, and just really get out there and vote. Okay? Have a good night.
Thanks, Zach. Brian Taylor, your 3 minutes are up.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have a really well-run city hall. The staff are professional. They have high level of integrity. We're the envy of the province in terms of having one of the best asset management programs in place. We have a city right now poised to do some really exciting things. We need to look at long-term visions of what we can do with sustainable water, how we can deal with future planning that will put the city in a position of moving from just a nice little town to a great town. So as far as I'm concerned at this point, the kind of recognition to City Hall that must be there with everyone who runs for council. We have a city staff that we should be proud of. We have a council that's doing its best, so let's move on with the future and have some bigger plans. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, Kyle, you started it off and you get to end it as well.
Thank you. I'm not as nervous going last. Sorry for the shakiness before. If I'm elected, I will show you that I'm a team player. I'm an honest, straight shooter. I'm out in the public during my job for 12 hours a day. Many of you see me every day. You are able to ask me questions and I'm able to answer them. I will do whatever it takes to make Grand Forks a better place. I have yet to attend a council meeting since I moved here. I've been relying on Les's broadcasts. In order for me to show up to council meetings, it will be a detriment to my business that I'm willing to give up to serve you better. In the past, they've since made strides to make it better. There's been animosity in the council chambers, and I think that another positive voice in there, I can do my best to help prevent that in the future, so we can keep moving on, because that basically stopped a year of progress. And May 28th, if you want someone that will do his best to make Grand Forks a better place, vote Kyle Piper. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. It's been a pleasure at moderating this forum. You've been a very polite group of people in a very competitive race here. I'd also like to thank Cathy Wright from Community Futures. I got the right name, did I, Cathy?
Cathy Wright from the Chamber, though.
Chamber, sorry. And Cathy, would you just stand? She was the main organizer tonight. Thank you from the Regional Chamber of
Commerce. Thank you. And thank you to Michael for moderating tonight.
Thank you to the audience for turning out, and we appreciate having the Gazette back at these forums. And good luck as you make your choice on May 28th. Good night. Have a safe day.